Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I have a few announcements to make first. On Sunday, December 9th, there will be the second annual Interfaith Hussein Day at 3:30 p.m. and 5:30 p.m. located at Central Peel Secondary School, organized by Waliul Asr. You can RSVP at events@waliulasr.ca. Also, starting in January 2013, there will be classes Islam 101 for adults held every Saturday from 1:30 to 2:30 in the youth section room. Sisters between the ages of 18 and 45 are welcome. Space is limited, so please register with either myself or Brother Mahmoud. Classes are free and will be taught by Sister Sabra. And also, youth section is very excited to announce that we will be having Brother Hassanin Wajabadi here at Jamia this Thursday, November 29th, inshallah. He will be lecturing in the main hall at 8 p.m. followed by a question and answer session. Okay. Assalamu alaikum, sisters and brothers and respected scholars. My name is Zahra Hazara, and on behalf of youth section, I would like to welcome you all to this year's Muharram program. Youth section is proud to have Sayyid Saleh with us for Muharram this year. Sayyid Muhammad Saleh al-Qazwini is the grandson of Ayatollah Sayyid Murtaza al-Qazwini, who currently leads prayers and gives lectures in the holy shrine of Imam Hussein alayhi salam in Karbala. Sayyid Muhammad Saleh al-Qazwini began his secular studies in the United States, where he was very active in youth-related programs in its community. He moved to Iran in 2006 to further his Islamic studies at the Islamic Seminary of Qom. He's currently studying Islamic jurisprudence and Islamic theology. He's fluent in English, Arabic, and Farsi. He gives lectures in communities throughout North America, Europe, and Asia, spreading the message of Islam and the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. He also presents television programs on international satellite channels. Tonight, Sayyid Saleh will be discussing fighting the propaganda. There will be a question and answer session after Sham-e Ghariban in the youth section room for brothers and sisters ages 14 and above. Please recite a lot salawat to welcome Sayyid Saleh to the minbar.
Salam. First of all, I would like to thank the Honorable Sayyid for coming and embarrassing me. I asked him to speak and I should be benefiting from him, but he insisted that he wants to listen. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين حبيب إله العالمين أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين صلى الله عليك يا رسول الله صلى الله عليك وعلى أهل بيتك المظلومين صلى الله عليك يا أبا عبد الله يا رحمة الله الواسعة ويا باب نجاة الأمة ويا عبرة كل مؤمن ومؤمنة يا غريب مظلوم كربلاء ما خاب من تمسك بكم وأمن من لجأ إليكم يا ليتنا كنا معكم فنفوز فوزا عظيما أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل لا أسألكم عليه أجرا إلا المودة في القربى. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. A louder salawat for the love of Imam al-Hussein and the Ahl al-Bayt alayhim as-salam. If we look into history and we analyze, we will see that there has been no crime committed as horrible, as horrific as the crime of Karbala. There has been no murder that has been worse than the tragedy of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. This gruesome crime of inviting someone to come to Kufa to guide them, then turning against him. Not only killing him, killing his whole family with him. That's not enough as well. They take his head and they place it on a spear. They burn the tents of the women and the children and the family of Rasulullah. And they take them from city to city. And who is this? This is the grandson of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi, Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. Amir al-Mu'mineen, he tells Imam al-Hussein, he tells him, La yawmaka yawmika ya Aba Abdullah. There is no day like yours, O Aba Abdullah. The tragedy of Imam al-Hussein, it's the worst tragedy that has been seen, that has happened on this earth, and nothing will happen worse than the tragedy of Imam al-Hussein. This is why the Ahl al-Bayt cried. This is why the Ahl al-Bayt, they made sure that the day of Imam al-Hussein is remembered. Imam al-Rida alayhi salam, he says, Inna yawm al-Hussein aqraha jufunana. The day of Hussein, it made our eyes bleed from crying. We cried so much until our eyes began to bleed. This brutal massacre of Imam al-Hussein and his family, killing him was not enough. They mutilated his body. They cut up his body. I mentioned yesterday, Shimr comes with a letter to Umar ibn Sa'd. He tells him, by Ubaidullah ibn Ziyad, he tells him, don't only kill Imam al-Hussein. After you kill him, فَلْتَطَأِ الْخَيْلُ صَدْرَهُ وَظَهْرَهُ. Let the hooves of the horses stomp and destroy his body. This is what they wanted. They wanted to destroy the religion of Islam by killing Imam al-Hussein. They wanted to destroy every bone in the body of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. Then they took the family and the children and they paraded them as prisoners with chains in their hands, and they take them from city to city all the way to Kufa, and from Kufa to Damascus, and they would stop in the Muslim cities so that the Muslims see these are the prisoners, these are the ones who stood against Yazid. They had them in chains and they would take them from city to city, and people would ask. People would see miracles during the time. Zayd ibn Arqam, one of the companions of Rasulullah, he says, I saw the head of Imam al-Hussein on a spear, and the wind was playing with the beard of Imam al-Hussein. The wind, it was taking it to the side. And then he said, I saw the head of Imam al-Hussein reciting Quran, reciting a verse in the Quran. أَمْ حَسِبْتَ أَنَّ أَصْحَابَ الْكَهْفِ وَالرَّقِيمِ كَانُوا مِنْ آيَاتِنَا عَجَبًا. The verse says, you thought Ashab al-Kahf, you thought the miracle of Ashab al-Kahf is something that's ajab, that's something that's strange. He said, he saw the head of Imam Hussein speaking. He told him, بَلْ رَأْسُكَ أَعْجَبْ وَأَعْجَبْ يَبْنَ رَسُولِ اللَّهِ. Your head is stranger. To see the head of the grandson of Rasulullah on a spear, this is something that's strange. Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, this is what they did to him. But by massacring and by parading the family of Imam al-Hussein from city to city, the people would ask questions. They entered in Kufa after bringing them in chains. These are the grandchildren of Rasulullah. They bring them in chains. A lady, she comes and she asks the woman, she tells them, Ayyul usara antum? Which prisoners are you? Are you the prisoners that are coming from the non-Muslim countries that they're bringing them? The children, the grandchildren and the children of Imam al-Hussein, they tell her, Nahnu usara ali Muhammad. We are the prisoners of the family of Rasulullah. The family of Rasulullah is taken as prisoners. When entering Damascus, that was a day of Eid for them. That was a day of holiday for them. The people of Damascus, they were celebrating that the head of Imam al-Hussein is coming to Yazid. A man, an old man, he stops in front of Imam Zayn al-Abidin, and Imam Zayn al-Abidin is in chains. He tells Imam Zayn al-Abidin, Alhamdulillah alladhi qatalakum wa nasara al-amir wa araha al-bilad minkum. He says, the old man, he says, all praise is due to Allah that He killed you and He humiliated you and He made the Amir, Yazid, victorious over you. The man did not know who these are. The man thought that these were kuffar. These were people who were fighting the Muslim nation, and they brought them as prisoners. So Imam Zayn al-Abidin, he tells him, Ya Shaykh, hal qara'ta al-Quran? Oh Shaykh, have you recited the Quran? The man said, yes, and what are you with the Quran? He thought that they were non-Muslims. He tells him, have you read the verse, قُلْ لَا أَسْأَلُكُمْ عَلَيْهِ أَجْرًا إِلَّا الْمَوَدَّةَ فِي الْقُرْبَى. Say, I do not ask anything of you except show mawaddah, show love to my qurba. He says, yes, I have heard that. Imam Zayn al-Abidin tells him, نحن القربى يا شيخ. We are the qurba, we are the family of Rasulullah. Then he tells him, have you read the verse, وَآتِ ذَا الْقُرْبَى حَقَّهِ? Give the qurba their rights, give the close kin their rights. He says, yes, I have read that. He tells him, نحن القربى يا شيخ. Then he tells him, have you read the verse, وَاعْلَمُوا أَنَّمَا غَنِمْتُم مِّن شَيْءٍ فَإِنَّ لِلَّهِ خُمُسَهُ وَلِلرَّسُولِ وَلِذِي الْقُرْبَى. The verse of khums. Give a part to Allah, give a part to the Prophet, and give a portion to the qurba, the family of Rasulullah. Tells him, نحن القربى يا شيخ. The man, he says, are you really the qurba? And he begins crying and kissing the feet of Imam Zayn al-Abidin. In Damascus, he begins cursing Yazid. Yazid finds out, he orders for this man to be killed, and his head is placed on the castle, on the door of the castle. This is what happened to the family of Rasulullah. So Bani Umayyah, they killed Imam al-Hussein. This government killed Imam al-Hussein, but now how are they going to justify their killing? How are they going to get out of this mess that they put themselves in? Because once the people saw the family of Rasulullah, they started questioning. People started asking. People started saying, what's happening? Why is the grandchildren of Rasulullah being paraded from city to city? So Bani Umayyah, they had to do something in order to save themselves. They had to resort to something in order to save themselves. What did they do? They started this war of propaganda. Propaganda that we see today, this also was practiced during the time by the Umayyads. The propaganda that we see today, it was practiced and it was started by the Umayyads. The family of Bani Umayyah, they had nothing that brings them close to the religion of Islam. Abu Sufyan, he fought Rasulullah. Muawiyah fought Amir al-Mu'mineen. Yazid killed Imam al-Hussein. What do they have that brings them close to the religion of Islam? Do they know the Quran? Do they know the ahkam? Do they know anything? They were fighting Rasulullah their whole life. Now they want to take power. They want to stay in power. How are they going to stay in power? They're going to resort to evil tactics, the tactics of propaganda. After killing, that was not enough. They decided to change the religion, and they decided to change the narrations and change the tafsir of the Quran in order for people to believe them, in order for people to follow them. They were people that did not even believe in religion. Yazid, he has the head of Imam al-Hussein in front of him, and he starts saying, لعبت هاشم في الملك فلا خبر جاء ولا وحي نزل. Hashim played with powers. Bani Hashim, they played with, it was a kingdom. It was a rule of who has more power, who's able to control. Bani Hashim, they played with power. There was no wahi, there was no revelation, and there was no Quran, nothing coming down. This is what Yazid said. It's narrated. So what is he going to do? What is Muawiyah going to do? They're fighting against the true imams. They're fighting against the leaders. They resorted to fabricating the narrations, changing the ahadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi. Today, when we look at some of the narrations in the Muslim books, this is why it's very important. Rasulullah says, whenever you see a hadith, go and compare this hadith to the Quran. If it contradicts the Quran, you don't accept this hadith. If it goes against the Quran, this hadith is not acceptable. But today there are thousands of narrations that are in our books, in our resources. And unfortunately, many Muslims are accepting them and following them. We have to use our aql. I spoke about this many times. The religion of Islam is a logical religion. The religion of Islam is a religion that tells us to use our intellect and use our heart and have faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But in order to have true faith in Allah, we have to have intellect. So use our intellect. And I'll give you a few examples of how the history was changed by the government of Bani Umayyah. Muawiyah, he was fighting Ali ibn Abi Talib, Amir al-Mu'mineen, in the battle of Siffin. And he wanted the Muslims to hate Ali ibn Abi Talib. He wanted everyone to think Ali ibn Abi Talib is a kafir. Ali ibn Abi Talib is a person that did not believe in Rasulullah and did not believe in the Quran. Even though Ali ibn Abi Talib was the first one to believe in Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi. So he calls some of the Sahaba. He brings some companions of Rasulullah because he's in Sham, he's in Damascus. He knows that most of the people there in Damascus, they're not Sahaba. They have not seen Rasulullah. They became Muslim. So he brings some of the companions so that these companions tell them, I heard Rasulullah say this and this. So he comes to one of the companions by the name of Samarah ibn Jundub. This companion, just because he was a companion of Rasulullah does not mean he was a good person. He comes to Samarah and he tells him, Oh Samarah, I want you to do something for me. I want you to do something and I'm willing to pay you. I want you to go out in front of the Muslims in Damascus and tell them that this verse came on Ali ibn Abi Talib. What's the verse? It came regarding Ali ibn Abi Talib. The verse says, Ya ayyuhan nas, وَمِنَ النَّاسِ مَنْ يُعْجِبُكَ قَوْلُهُ فِي الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا وَيُشْهِدُ اللَّهُ عَلَى مَا فِي قَلْبِهِ وَهُوَ أَلَدُّ الْخِصَامِ. There are some people that when you hear them speaking, you say, MashaAllah, this person is very beautiful. But if you look in his heart, and Allah witnesses that in his heart he's a corrupt person, he's an evil person. And then the next verse after it, وَإِذَا تَوَلَّى, if he has power, سَعَى فِي الْأَرْضِ لِيُفْسِدَ فِيهَا وَيُهْلِكُ الْحَرْثَ وَالنَّسْلِ. He wants to take power to cause corruption and oppression in the land. وَاللَّهُ لَا يُحِبُّ الْفَسَادِ وَإِذَا قِيلَ لَهُ اتَّقِ اللَّهِ أَخْذَتْهُ الْعِزَّةُ بِالْإِثْمِ. And when you tell him, have taqwa in Allah, he's going to say, no, I'm good. He has izzah, he's proud. He tells him, Oh Samarah, I'm willing to give you money so for you to go in front of the Muslims and say that this verse is referring to Ali ibn Abi Talib. How much do you want? Can I give you 100,000 dirhams? He said, no, I'm selling my religion by doing such a thing. You have to give me more. 200,000? No, I want more. 300,000? No, I want more. 400,000 dirhams he took from Muawiyah, and he goes out in front of the Muslims and he says that this verse is referring to Ali ibn Abi Talib. Someone who wants to cause corruption, someone who wants to oppress, someone who wants to kill and abuse power. This is why when Ali ibn Abi Talib was killed while praying on the 19th of Ramadan, he was struck in the mihrab while he was praying. News came to Damascus that Ali ibn Abi Talib was killed while he was praying. Some people, they asked, Ali prays? Ali prays? They were surprised to hear that Ali ibn Abi Talib is someone that prays because of the propaganda that was caused by Bani Umayyah. This propaganda lasted for 80 years. 80 years the government of Bani Umayyah was cursing Ali ibn Abi Talib, Fatima al-Zahra, Imam al-Hassan and Imam al-Hussein on the pulpit. When a speaker for khutbah al-Jum'ah, for Jum'ah prayer, he would get up. A part of the Jum'ah prayer, a part of the speech was to curse Amir al-Mu'mineen, curse Ali ibn Abi Talib. This is our history. This is our black history. Until Umar ibn Abdul Aziz, one of the last rulers of Bani Umayyah, he came and he abolished that. He took that out of the religion. He stopped them from doing this. Today, don't be surprised when you see people hating Ali ibn Abi Talib. Today, don't be surprised when you see people blowing up the shrines of the Ahl al-Bayt and killing the ones who cry for the Ahl al-Bayt. This is not something new. This is something that was going on during the time of Rasulullah and during the time of the Imams. The tool of propaganda changed many things in religion. And unfortunately, many Muslims don't have a clear view right now. Today, many things we need to always use our intellect and we always need to question when someone says something. Right now, I'm telling you this, go and question what I'm saying. Go and read the books. We have to question. Today, the issue, a very important issue that's brought up, especially on the day of Ashura, is the fasting on Ashura, the Siyam on Ashura. What's the issue of the fasting on Ashura? You hear many people getting emails, many people spreading pamphlets and telling people, fast on Ashura, make sure you are fasting on Ashura. Today is the day of holiday, today is the day of Eid. What's the issue behind this? The issue behind this is that there's a narration. And of course we don't accept this narration, and I'll explain why. There's a narration that says that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi, when he migrated to Medina, 13 years he was in Mecca, 10 years in Medina. When he migrated to Medina, he saw the Jews fasting on the day of Ashura. So Rasulullah told them, why are you fasting? They told him, this is the day that we, the Bani Israel, this is the day that Prophet Musa was saved from Fir'aun. And this was the day that he escaped from Fir'aun. So we are thanking Allah and we are fasting on a day like this. So the narration says that Rasulullah, he said, well, Musa is my brother. He's a prophet, just like me. So we, the Muslims, we also need to fast on the day of Ashura. So he told the Muslims to fast on Ashura. But there's a problem with this verse. There's a problem with this narration. There are many holes in this. This is something that does not stand. This is something that's not solid. It does not have a firm foundation. And I'll explain why. First of all, this fasting on Ashura was a means for Bani Umayyah to tell the people that the day of Ashura is a day of Eid. Bani Umayyah, after killing Imam al-Hussein, they want people to forget what happened to Imam al-Hussein. They don't want anyone to remember what happened to Imam al-Hussein. So they made the day that they killed Imam al-Hussein a day of holiday. And until today you see people celebrating on the day of Ashura. Until today you see people saying this is a day of joy, this is a day of victory, this is the day that Allah saved the prophets. There's a problem with this. First of all, we don't have a problem with fasting. Our scholars, the Shias, we don't have a problem with fasting. Fasting is mustahab, it's excellent, we should fast, it's a means of getting closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But when Bani Umayyah says fast because it's a day of holiday, we're not going to do that. When they say fast because it's a day of Eid, we don't accept that. I will fast, but not because they told me. I'm not going to consider this a day that it's mustahab to fast because Bani Umayyah is telling me it's mustahab. If Rasulullah really said it's mustahab, we will fast. But the problem is Rasulullah did not say that. It was Bani Umayyah who said that. First of all, we look at the narration that says fast on Ashura. This narration came down, all of this narration, this commotion, it comes down to four people, four individuals. They said, we heard Rasulullah say fast on Ashura. Who are these four? The first is Muawiyah ibn Abi Sufyan. Muawiyah, he says, I heard Rasulullah say fast on the day of Ashura. Because he said, and the narration is Rasulullah, when he first migrated, he saw the Jews, and this is what he says. So first of all, Muawiyah, he was not even Muslim on that day. The day Rasulullah migrated to Medina, Muawiyah was not even Muslim. Muawiyah became Muslim the last year of the life of Rasulullah. The narration says that Abu Sufyan became Muslim, joined the religion of Islam before Muawiyah. And he was convincing Muawiyah to join the religion of Islam. Even Abu Sufyan joins before Muawiyah. Second, the second person is Abu Hurairah. He says, I heard Rasulullah say this. There is also another problem. Abu Hurairah, he was not Muslim on that day as well. Abu Hurairah, he was with Rasulullah for only 3 years. The last 3 years of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi. Before that, he was not with Rasulullah. So how can he say, I heard Rasulullah say fast on Ashura when Rasulullah migrated? The third person is Abu Musa al-Ash'ari. He was a Muslim, but he was not with Rasulullah. He did not migrate with Rasulullah. He was in Yemen the time that Rasulullah migrated. And the fourth person is Abdullah ibn Abbas. We accept him. We accept his hadith. But there's one problem. That day, the day Rasulullah migrated to Medina, Abdullah ibn Abbas was probably 3 years old or 4 years old. How can he come and hear Rasulullah say such a thing? So it's clear that this is a fabricated narration. The second thing, the word Ashura, Ashura means the 10th. The 10th, Ashura, became a known day after the day Imam al-Hussein was killed. Before that, Ashura was the 10th of any month. It could have been the 10th of Safar, the 10th of Dhul Hijjah, the 10th of Dhul Qa'dah. After the day of Imam al-Hussein, the term Ashura was designated and it became known that it was a day for Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. And third, we ask the Jews. Rasulullah, he says, the narration says that Rasulullah, he saw the Jews fasting. We ask the Jews, do you fast on the day of Ashura? The day that Musa was saved? Is that a day that you're going to that you fast in your religion? We see that they did not fast on that day. They fast on the day that Musa came back from the Tur, from Mount Sinai, and he saw them worshipping the calf. So in order to ask Allah to forgive them, they fast on that day. And that's the day of Yom Kippur. But that's not the day of Ashura. They don't have something in their Sharia, in their religion, that they fast on the day that they were saved from Fir'aun. Fourth point, the one who forged this hadith, the ones who forged this hadith, they forgot that Rasulullah did not migrate to Medina in Muharram. Rasulullah migrated in Rabi' al-Awwal. This Islamic lunar calendar, it was placed after Rasulullah by the Muslims. Rasulullah did not migrate in Muharram. The narration says that when Rasulullah first migrated, he saw them fasting. So that means he had to wait a year for Muharram. And the fifth point, does Rasulullah need to take the religion from the Jews? Does he need to the Jews tell him that we fast on this day, so he comes and he tells the Muslims fast on this day? Rasulullah, he has direct access to Allah. Jibreel comes to him. He doesn't need to see the Jews doing something, so he says we do that. So there's many holes in this. And finally, why is there so much emphasis on fasting on the day of Ashura? It's because it's the day that Imam al-Hussein was killed. It's because they were trying to change the perspective of the people and get people to forget what happened to Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. There are many holy days that we fast throughout the whole year, but we don't see an emphasis on fasting on those days. The 27th of Rajab, the 15th of Sha'ban, these are holy days to fast, but we don't see an emphasis on fasting on those days. No one even knows about the recommendation to fast on those days. But fasting on Ashura, all of a sudden everyone knows about. This was one of the means of propaganda by Bani Umayyah. They wanted the world to forget what happened to Imam al-Hussein, but no one will ever forget what happened to Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. In Ziyarat Ashura, we say, Allahumma inna hadha yawmun tabarrakat bihi Banu Umayyah. This is a day that Bani Umayyah, they saw it as a holy day, a day of happiness. But this is the day that Rasulullah cries for. This is the day that Fatima al-Zahra cries for. This is the day that the Imams would cry for. Inna yawm al-Husayn aqraha jufunana. The day of Hussein made our eyes bleed from crying. Is this how the Muslims pay back Rasulullah? Rasulullah, he asked one thing from the Muslims, nothing else. He did not ask anything else from them. The Muslims, they came to Rasulullah and they told him, you guided us, you helped us. We were animals. We would bury our daughters alive. We were fighting with one another. We did not get along with one another. We would worship idols. You brought us and you guided us and you brought us the iman and the hidayah. How can we thank you back? Rasulullah used to always tell them, Inna ajri ala Allah. Inna ajri ala Allah. My reward is with Allah. I don't want anything from you. Until one day, Allah tells Rasulullah to tell the Muslimin, to tell the believers, Qul, say, O Rasulullah, La as'alukum alayhi ajran illa al-mawaddata fil qurba. I don't want anything from you except mawaddah, love towards my qurba, towards my family. This is all that Rasulullah asked. He did not ask anything else. But did the Muslims show mawaddah? Did they show respect towards the Ahlul Bayt? No. Instead, they killed them and they butchered them and they massacred them and they paraded them in the streets. So now, how do the Ahlul Bayt repel this propaganda? What should the Ahlul Bayt do in order to save themselves from this propaganda? Bani Umayyah, they were the ones who had the power. They were the ones who had the authority. What can the Ahlul Bayt do? The Ahlul Bayt, they have Allah's backing. And they tell the people, and the people's hearts follow the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. The Ahlul Bayt, they insisted that the people visit Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. They insisted on the ziyarah of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. The ziyarah of all the Imams, especially Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. In order to keep the name of Imam al-Hussein alive, the Imams, they would tell their companions, go and visit my grandfather Abu Abdullah. Go and visit the grave of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. And of course, the governments at that time, they tried to stop people from visiting Imam al-Hussein. Al-Mutawakkil al-Abbasi, of course it wasn't only Bani Umayyah. Then the Abbasi government came and they were also against the Ahlul Bayt. It's narrated that Al-Mutawakkil al-Abbasi destroyed, he was a Khalifa, a Caliph. He destroyed the grave of Imam al-Hussein 18 times. 18 times he would demolish the grave of Imam al-Hussein. They would have guards. They would have people standing next to the grave of Imam al-Hussein. Whoever wants to visit Imam al-Hussein, they would take a fine from this person. Give us taxes. That was not enough. People would give their money and go to visit Imam al-Hussein. Then they said, this is not working with them. We're going to cut off the hands of whoever visits Imam al-Hussein. The Zawar would come. They would tell them, if you want to visit Hussein, you have to cut off your hand. The Zawar, they would give their hands. They would cut off their hand. The next year, the same visitor, he comes. They tell him, give me your right hand. He says, last year you cut off my right hand. Here's my left hand. I'll do anything to visit Imam al-Hussein. We will never forget Abu Abdullah. Until the day of judgment, there will be people crying for Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. Nothing can stop us from visiting Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. And this is why we see the Imams, they insisted on their followers to visit Imam al-Hussein, to do ziyarah. This is why we see in every occasion there's a ziyarah of Imam al-Hussein. For Hajj, you want to perform the Hajj, Allah says the visitors of Imam al-Hussein, Allah will accept their dua before accepting His own visitors. Don't be surprised when you hear this. Allah looks at the visitors of Imam al-Hussein on the day of Arafat before looking at His own visitors. Why? Because if it was not for Imam al-Hussein, no one would be going to Arafat. In the month of Ramadan, there's a ziyarah for Imam al-Hussein. In the month of Sha'ban, there's a ziyarah for Imam al-Hussein. In the month of Rajab, there's a ziyarah for Imam al-Hussein. In Muharram, there's a ziyarah for Imam al-Hussein. In Safar, there's a ziyarah for Imam al-Hussein. You see that he's the only Imam that has so many ziyarahs. The Imams, they encourage their followers to visit Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. Imam al-Sadiq, he tells one of his companions by the name of Hannan ibn Sadir, he tells him, do you visit my grandfather Imam al-Hussein? Do you visit him every day? The man, he said, no, it's difficult for me. He tells him, do you visit him every week? He says, no, it's difficult for me. He says, do you visit him every month? He says, no, it's difficult for me. He tells him, do you visit him every year? He says, yes, I visit him at least once a year. Then the Imam, he tells him, may Allah bless you and may Allah reward you. Then he tells him, if you are far and you cannot visit the grave of Aba Abdullah, go and stand on your roof and face Karbala and say, Assalamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah. Say salam, send your salams to Imam al-Hussein, and Allah will deliver that salam to Imam al-Hussein. And Allah will reward you for that salam. And Allah will bless you for that salam. Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam, he tells one of his companions, he tells one of his companions, I want you to go and pray for me next to the grave of Imam al-Hussein. Imam al-Sadiq, he's an Imam. He's a rightly guided Imam. He can do dua, he can ask Allah whenever. So the companion, he told Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam, he told him, but your dua is accepted, you're an Imam. Why do you want me to go and do dua for you under the dome of Imam al-Hussein? Imam al-Sadiq, he told him, yes, my dua is accepted, but there are places where Allah likes to be asked. There are places where Allah will accept the dua much quicker. This is why when we go to Hajj, Allah accepts our dua. When we come to the masjid, the prayer's reward is greater than the reward of praying in the house. Also, doing ziyarah of Imam al-Hussein and visiting Imam al-Hussein and doing dua under the dome of Aba Abdullah, the dua will be accepted much quicker. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. The Imams, they would encourage people to visit Imam al-Hussein. They would encourage people to have ziyarah and go visit the grave of Aba Abdullah alayhi salam. And Imam al-Sadiq and Imam al-Baqir, they both narrate this narration. They say that Allah gave Imam al-Hussein three things. Allah gave him, for his sacrifice for Allah, Allah gave him these three. One is that the Imams are from his progeny. Second, his soil, the soil that he's buried on, this soil has shifa, it has the power to heal. Don't be surprised when you hear something like that. Today, where do we take our medicine from? They bring it from animals, and they bring it from all sorts of animals. And third, the dua of Imam al-Hussein is accepted under the dome. The Imams are from the descendants of Imam al-Hussein. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Everyone, please stand and come closer a little. رحم الله من ذكر القائم من آل محمد. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. And finally, everyone please, the Imams, they encouraged people to visit Imam al-Hussein, go do ziyarah of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. And finally, they also encouraged people to cry for Imam al-Hussein. They encouraged people to shed tears for Aba Abdullah. The hadith says, كُلُّ جَزَعٍ حَرَامٍ إِلَّا عَلَىٰ أَبِي Abdullah. Every type of extensive mourning, every type of mourning, extensive mourning is haram, except for Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. If a family member passes away, I'm not allowed to hit myself, and I shouldn't be crying so much. But for Imam al-Hussein, the Ahlul Bayt say, cry, shed tears for Imam al-Hussein. This will bring you closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because Imam al-Hussein, he sacrificed for Allah. He did not sacrifice for this dunya. He was not after this dunya. So if we cry for Imam al-Hussein, this will bring us closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam in a hadith, he says, Wallah, inni lahadihi al-majalis la uhibbuha. He says, Wallah, I swear to Allah that I love these majalis, where people gather, they leave their work, they leave their life, they leave their family, they put their life on hold, and they want to gather just to cry for Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. I love these gatherings. I do dua for the ones who attend these gatherings. In another narration, Imam al-Sadiq, he says, Allahumma arham tilka al-khudud allati taqallabat ala qabri Abi Abdullah. Oh Allah, have mercy on those cheeks. The visitors, they would go and visit Imam al-Hussein, and they would place their cheeks on the grave, on the soil of Aba Abdullah. He says, oh Allah, have mercy on those cheeks that were placed on the grave of Aba Abdullah alayhi salam. In another narration, he says, Allahumma arham tilka al-wujuh allati ghayyaratha al-shams. Oh Allah, have mercy on those faces that were changed by the sun. They were burnt by the sun. People, they would go visit Imam al-Hussein. The ziyarah of Imam al-Hussein would take months and weeks. They would get sunburned, traveling. It wasn't as easy going to Imam al-Hussein. They would go through hardships to visit Imam al-Hussein. He says, oh Allah, have mercy on those faces that were burned by the sun for visiting Aba Abdullah alayhi salam. Allahumma arham tilka al-wujuh allati ghayyaratha al-shams. All of the Ahlul Bayt, they cry. All of the Ahlul Bayt, they would hold majalis, they would gather, and they would cry for Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. This is not something that we are doing right now. This is something that the Imams used to do. Sahib al-Zaman, our 12th Imam, he cries for Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. He says, Wallah, he says, فَلَئِنْ أَخَّرَتْنِي الدُّهُورِ وعاقني عن نصرك المقدور ولم أكن لمن حاربك محاربا ولمن نصب لك العدا مناصبا فلأندبنك صباحا ومساء ولأبكين عليك بدل الدموع دما. He says, oh my Imam, oh my Master, if I was not able, because of destiny, I was not able to support you with the sword, and I was not able to be there for you. Wallah, I swear to Allah, I cried to you day and night. Our Imam cries for Imam al-Hussein day and night. We only gather these 10 days. We only cry in Ashura, but our Imam cries every day for Aba Abdullah. And then he says, وَلَا أَبْكِيَنَّ عَلَيْكَ بَدَلَ الدُّمُوعِ دَمًا. Oh Aba Abdullah, instead of tears, I cry blood for you. The Ahlul Bayt insisted that we visit Imam al-Hussein and we cry for Imam al-Hussein. One of our great scholars, one of our great mujtahids by the name of Sayyid Mahdi Bahr al-Ulum. This great scholar, he was a mujtahid, and he was the grand mujtahid of his time, the grand marja of his time. On the day of Ashura in Karbala, in a few hours, to watch this. This is very emotional, this is very moving. There's a aza in Karbala. They run to the grave of Aba Abdullah by the name of Aza Tuwairij. They run from an area by the name of Tuwairij to the grave of Aba Abdullah, hitting their chest and hitting their head, crying for Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. This is something that has been going on for many years, and you will see it on the TV. He says, Sayyid Mahdi Bahr al-Ulum, this marja', the scholar an old man, he's standing and he's watching people run and hit their chest and say, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein. They say, the people next to him, they say suddenly they saw Sayyid Mahdi Bahr al-Ulum. He leaves his people, he drops his imama on the ground and he starts running with them. He starts hitting his chest, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein. They tell him, after he finishes, they tell him, oh, you're a marja', you're a scholar. Why are you doing this? This is not appropriate for something like you to do. He says, don't blame me. I saw my master, Sahib al-Zaman, running in this azaa. He's hitting on his head saying, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein. Imam al-Mahdi, he cries for his grandfather Imam al-Hussein. He sheds tears for Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. Now let us turn our hearts to Karbala on a night like this. If you can please dim the lights. This is Sham Ghariban. Dim the lights, please. On a night like this, the family of Imam al-Hussein were left all alone. There was no man with them other than Zayn al-Abidin. All the men were killed. Even Abdullah al-Radi', this child, he was also killed. They became widows. There was orphans. There were there were ladies that lost their sons. There were ladies that lost their husbands. There were ladies that lost their babies and their children. After killing Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, Umar ibn Sa'd, he tells them, أحرقوا بيوت الظالمين. Burn the homes of the oppressors. They took the fire and they went after the women and the children. And they began burning the tent of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. The children and the women, they began running out of the tent. They don't know where to go. There's no Abbas to go to. There's no Qasim to go to. There's no Ali al-Akbar to go to. There's no Habib ibn Mudahir. There's no Imam al-Hussein. No one is around. Sayyida Zainab, she comes to Imam Zayn al-Abidin. She tells him they're burning the tent. What should we do? Imam Zayn al-Abidin, he tells her, Ya amma alaykunna bil firar. The only thing that I can tell you to do is run for your lives. They began running. They began running for their lives, the women and the children. Hamid ibn Muslim, one of the narrators who attended Karbala, he did not support Imam al-Hussein. He narrates what happened. He says, I saw the children of Imam al-Hussein running for their lives. I saw them, some of them, their clothes were on fire, their abba was on fire. I saw one of the daughters of Aba Abdullah, Fatima bint al-Hussein. I saw her running while her clothes were on fire. I began to run after her so I can turn off the fire. She sees me running after her, she's scared, she starts running more and more until I tell her, please, I'm trying to save you, I'm trying to help you. He says, I turned off the fire. Then she has no place to go. It was a hot day. The sun was scorching. So she goes underneath the shade of the horse, under the belly of the horse. She has no shoes. She lifts 1 foot off the ground because the ground is very hot. It's burning. She lifts 1 foot and then she lifts the other. Hamid ibn Muslim, he says, I came to her. I told her, let me help you. I want to help you. She said, she told me, Ya Shaykh, hal qara'ta al-Quran? Oh Shaykh, have you recited the Quran? He said, I said, what are these children? They're asking me about the Quran. What do they want? He said, she told me, have you read the verse? فَأَمَّا الْيَتِيمَ فَلَا تَقْهَرْ. Don't hurt the orphan. I am the orphan of Aba Abdullah. I lost my father today. He says, she told me, Ya Shaykh, do you know which way is Ghari? Do you know which way is Najaf? She says, what do you want with Ghari? He said, she told me, my grandfather Ali ibn Abi Talib is buried there. He always used to help Rasulullah. He always used to aid everyone when they were in need. I want to ask him to come and help me right now. He says, I brought some water for her. I brought some water and she hadn't drank water for many days now. He said, I came to her. I brought the water for her. She told me, oh Shaykh, I want to ask you something. When my father, when he was saying his final farewell, I saw his lips, they were dry. I knew he was very thirsty. I want to ask you, did they give him water before killing him? He said, no, they did not give him a single drop of water. He said, she dropped the water on the ground and she said, I cannot drink if my father died thirsty. On a night like this, Sayyida Zainab, she took control of the women. She was protecting the family of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. She took responsibility. She gathered everyone in a burnt tent. She gathered them to protect them. There's enemies all around. She gathers them. She counts them one by one. Is everyone around? Is everyone secure? She says, suddenly she saw that Rabab is missing. Rabab is the wife of Imam al-Hussein, the mother of Abdullah al-Radi. She says, the narration says that Sayyida Zainab, she goes out in the middle of the battlefield, in the middle of the desert. She calls out, Rabab, Rabab, where are you? Where's Rabab? She's worried about her. One of the soldiers, he says, I saw a lady going towards the bodies, going towards the butchered bodies. Sayyida Zainab and Kulthum, they go, they hear a crying, a sound of a crying lady. They come, they say, who is this? They find out it's Rabab. They tell her, oh Rabab, what are you doing here? It's dangerous. Why are you here all alone? She said, I came to look for my son Abdullah al-Radi. Yesterday I did not have a single drop of water of milk in my breast. Now they gave me water and I feel that the milk has come back. I want to find my baby so I can give him some milk to drink. Sayyida Zainab alayhi salam, she sees the body of Imam al-Hussein, the mutilated body of Aba Abdullah. It's unrecognizable with the injuries, the no head, there's no clothes on the body, there's no even ring on the finger, because after killing Imam al-Hussein, a man, he comes and he tries to take the ring of Imam al-Hussein. He sees that it does not come off, so he cuts the finger of Aba Abdullah. She sees the body of Imam al-Hussein, but she can recognize the body. Anta ibn Ummi, are you the son of my mother? Are you my brother, O Aba Abdullah? She sees the body and she turns to Rasulullah. Ya Jaddah wa Jaddah wa Muhammadah. Oh grandfather Rasulullah, صلت عليك مليك السماء هذا حسينك بالعرى مقطع الأعضاء وبناتك سبايا وإلى الله المشتكى وإلى محمد المصطفى وإلى علي المرتضى وإلى فاطمة الزهراء. Oh Allah, this is your oh Rasulullah, this is your grandson Hussein. See what they have done to him. Then she places her hands underneath the body of Aba Abdullah. She raises it a little and she says, Ilahi taqabbal hadha al-qurban min ali Muhammad. Oh Allah, accept the sacrifice of Muhammad. This is the sacrifice of Rasulullah for your religion. They came, they tried to take her off. خويا ذبتني على الغرب قوايا أنا لحقتك على ريحة الخوة خويا ذبتني على الغرب قوة أنا لحقتك على ريحة الخوة يا يد شوف الشمر بيا اش سوى ساط على متوني تلوى. Let us say salam to Aba Abdullah al-Hussein alayhi salam. Imam al-Hussein, he has a special salam. Everyone, you say salam to the individual. We say salam to Imam al-Rida, to Imam al-Sadiq, to Imam al-Baqir, to Rasulullah. But Imam al-Hussein, every single body part has a salam. This is the ziyarah of Imam al-Mahdi alayhi salam. He says, As-salamu ala al-nahr al-manhur. I say salam to the throat that was butchered. I say salam to the neck that was cut off. السلام على من دفنه أهل القرى السلام على مقطوع الوتين السلام على المحامي بلا معين السلام على الشيب الخضيب. We say salam to the beard of Aba Abdullah, this beard that was filled with his blood. السلام على الخد التريب. Say salam to the cheeks that were filled with dirt and soil because he fell on the ground. As-salamu ala al-badan as-salib. Say salam to that body that everything was lifted from that body and stolen from him. As-salamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah. Everyone with me, your loudest voice is As-salamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah. السلام عليك يا ابن رسول الله السلام عليك وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك وأناخت برحلك عليك مني سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار ولا جعله الله آخر العهد مني لزيارتكم. السلام على الحسين وعلى الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين ورحمة الله وبركاته. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد.
Thank you, Brother Qazwini. Just to let you know that the question and answer session will be held after the